Hey, Naruto here. Today I'm going to do part 2 of What If Deku had Jake's power from Adventure Time. In the last part, I ended it right after Deku got his letter, and so he is going to UA for the first day of school. So, when he enters the class, everyone that was there is already there. Ida is telling Bakugo, to put his feet down from the table, and Ida basically sees Deku and goes straight towards him and tell him that Deku is better than himself because, well, he didn't even know that there were extra points for doing something else than destroying a robot, but he found out. Which Deku just said, I didn't find out. It's just that, well, if someone is in danger, why wouldn't you help them? Which he kind of realized that. Then Ochakos entered the class. Um, Basically, she says, "Oh, I remember those bushy blue hair. Hi, Deku. Hi, Izuku," because they presented themselves. She said thank you after, since he is the one that brought her to Recovery Girl. So they exchanged name. She says thank you, blah blah blah. So she already know his name. And anyway, his nickname in this one is Stretchy Boy. So yeah. Um, Basically they start talking a bit. Um, until enters the class. Um, Basically he says the exact same thing that he did in the anime. Everyone goes to change, and basically for Deku, when he changed, basically he had special clothes made for him. So every type of clothes he needed at school basically were made with his power in mind. So no worry about that really. So yeah, he just changed normally. Um, Everyone went outside, and then Aizawa asked Bakugo to throw the ball. He got the same score. In this one, he did train more than in the original, but it was mostly to try and copy something that Deku did, which was his flying. Since Deku's quirk doesn't look like it should do that, but he's able to by making wings. So he tried to fly by using his explosions. He's kind of able to stay in the air for a while, but not that long. Like, he can stay for like a minute if he really tries, but after that he cannot continue. Mostly because of the strength of the explosion that he needs to keep himself in the air and the amount of time he needs to do them. Like, if he just wants to go up and up, he can just do big blast like he did um, in the fight All Might versus All for One. But if he wants to stay in a certain place, he has to make a certain size of explosion and constantly to basically stay in that space. So yeah, that's the point where it starts hurting him. So yeah, he got about the same because he didn't try to increase the size of his explosion. He only tried to actually learn to do that over the 10 months, as well as increase his strength and blah blah blah, just like he did in the original. But that's why I'm saying that the only thing that's different is that he can fly a bit already. A lot of people were impressed, basically, just like in the anime. Deku wasn't. After that, they go for every other things, which speed, the 10-meter race, Ida's first, Bakugo's second because he's able to make explosion behind him to speed up. Deku is third, and after that, it's basically the same as in the original. Um, the jump, Deku can fly indefinitely. Bakugo can fly, but only for a minute, so he kind of didn't really get infinity, but at the same time, he was able to go far. Grip Test, Deku destroyed it basically. He basically extended his hand multiple times around the thing and just kind of crushed it. So he went to the max. Side to side jump. I would say he's only doing it well, not first place level, but not last place basically, since his power kind of doesn't help him for that. After that, I don't remember what other things there was. Well, actually, they didn't. They only showed us those. And finally, the ball throw, which, just like I said in the first part, Deku can extend his arm in the atmosphere, well, in space basically, because of the length that he can do it. The rest of his body becomes really tired, and it's basically the max that he can do for now. Because, let me just go see. Yeah, so around 100 kilometer, and that's not his arm in the full size. It's basically he makes it super tiny and just kind of goes straight up, and it's basically the maximum that he can do. His entire body is shriveled up and literally dried. Like there's nothing more that he can do. So basically, he does that. Everyone basically sees him being practically dead. He brings back his arm and he's completely exhausted. Aizawa asks him what that was, and he explains that he can increase the amount of stretching that he has by training, but the max that he can do is basically like what he just did, which he basically went place his arm at the smallest size that he could to basically still have the ball in hand to bring it all the way up in space and throw it. Since it's the um, max that he can do right now and that it takes everything out of him, he normally doesn't stretch that far. He'll be alright in a bit because of the way his quirk works, which I will ask him how does it work, which Deku explains that he can regenerate faster than normal people. Not that fast, but still a bit faster. Um, he can literally stretch his body to basically um, take a bone outside of it, and the bone will regrow inside of himself automatically. If someone breaks his bone, that's a bit different. It still needs to heal normally, which he knows about recovery girl, so he knows it's not really a problem. He explains also that his quirk gives him some type of super strength, like he can easily lift someone with one hand. He would probably be able to lift All Might with both his hand kind of easily without really trying, but something more than that would be a lot of problem. And that if he stretch his body to grow in size simply, he can become stronger. Which he asks how much? Well, Aiza will literally ask how much directly, and Bakugo exclaim, "You know the hero mount lady? He can grow a bit bigger than he can grow about the same way as she can, but I don't know if he can grow to the same size as her." Which they look at him because they saw that Bakugo seemed to hate Deku, and yet he answers like that. When they all, while they're all looking at him, well, the students, he basically says, "I hate the guy, but he has a great quirk. If I wasn't taking note on him, how do you want me to grow? He was the only rival in our middle school, so I kind of learned." Basically, he hates Deku, but he respects him, like I said. So after that, everyone else basically got the same scores. So Deku's first place, like easily, in the ball throw, tied with Ochako. Um, so nobody got expelled, basically. Um, and after that, you pass to the next morning, and basically the costume that Deku has is kind of mediocre. It's basically the same thing as what he has in the original, but blue instead, since I think the reason it's green is because it keeps up with his hair. So if it's that, well, I'm putting it blue instead of green. And every part of it can basically extend, since, well, extend, retract, become extremely big, become extremely small. Compared to Deku, the limit of the costume is a lot smaller. Um, Simply because they didn't have time to actually do it completely. It's basically model model 1 basically. And later they're going, because they're trying to actually make one that would be able to extend even more than what Deku can, because he can increase his amount of stretching. So yeah, basically they're trying to make one that would be 2.0, which can extend to practically forever, to basically make sure that Deku doesn't rip it off. Which they did tell him about the limit, which the limit, if he grows, is basically around the same as what we saw Mount Lady do in part 1, which Deku can go a bit taller than that. We know that she can go a lot taller than that, but yeah, he's really not on the same size as her, but for the first form that we saw of her, he can go a bit bigger than that. But that's basically it for now. And the costume is basically only able to grow that much for now. But they're trying to extend it. So for the team, hero versus villain, I'm going to leave them the same. But yeah, it's a one-sided battle because Deku basically just grew, went to the window that basically saw the bomb and just ripped it out. So he basically just did that easily, so it wasn't really fun. Everyone else basically got the exact same score that they had, simply because only Bakugo and Deku are a bit. Well, Deku is a bit stronger. Bakugo is a bit stronger. Deku is, well, full control of his quirk and massively powerful. You wouldn't be able to beat All Might. Far from that. But he would be able to take at least one punch without falling. A second one, and yeah, he's gone. And I'm only talking about a punch like the punch that he used against the sludge villain, so really not a full power punch. Like, if he did go United States, Dick would be gone, basically. His body is resistant, but Deku would fall out of consciousness and would have multiple broken bones easily. So after that happened, the thing with class president being Ira because the villains attacked, um, basically the same thing happened except that instead of Ochako lifting him up, it was basically Deku doing it. So he had a less awkward pose as well. And now we're going to the USJ. Um, in while going to the USJ, they basically talk about the quirk and okay, this is something that I really want to ask because I want to do a ship in this one, but I'm not sure between Tsuyu and Mina. So tell me in the comment which one you would like to see more, Tsu or Mina. And yeah, so basically, since he talked about his power, they went with everyone else first, and then they went and asked him if, well, how he discovered his power. And no, wait. What they're asking is what strength and what resistance he has. Okay, yeah, sorry. Um, so they basically asked that, and he basically explained that with his quirk, as long as he can stretch into it, he should be able to do it. He cannot harden his skin, so it's always the same, but he can extend his fat and other things like that. Basically, tank hits a bit more. Basically, that he took it from Fat Gum, basically seeing him on the news or something, and he decided to try that, and it kind of works. Not like Fat Gum does, but it at least tanks some of the hits, which they are a bit impressed. Then he says that one of the biggest resistance he has is that, well, just like he explained, he has a bit of a regeneration factor, and he's kind of resistant to temperature a bit. Like fire, he could literally walk in a fire, be burned, but he could still walk out of it. He can go into freezing cold and have only some problems. Like literally his body, he can literally extend it to create more heat, so he's kind of resistant to that. Wait, I just said he couldn't harden his body, but we know that Jake. Well, in multiple episodes, Jake tried punching ice, didn't work, or punching stone, and it didn't work. Then making a pickaxe with his hand and basically being able to crack it. I'm not sure if that would count as hardening or something like that, but normally you wouldn't do that. Yeah, normally he would just grow and crack it like that, but making a pickaxe and breaking it, that's kind of. I'm not sure. I rewatched like the entire first season during the last 2 weeks, and in multiple shots we see him do stuff like, oh, he's not able to break that, or he's not able to lift that, and then shapeshift and being able to, so it's kind of hard with his power. I thought it would be an easy one, but literally I rewatched the entire first season before starting to write part 2, just to make sure of stuff. So yeah, I should have probably tried watching the entire series, but that would have taken a lot more time, so no. Um, okay, so yeah. Where was I? Yeah, so he was talking about resistance. He was saying that, even if cold doesn't really harm him, since even if he gets cold, he can just grow in size and it creates more heat on his body. Um, or make more fat and basically does the same thing. He still has a limit and he does still need to eat and drink because, well, if he gets exhausted, his stretching become a less, um, well, less good. Um, so when they arrive, they enter, and basically the same thing happens. Presenting 13. Um, All Might's not there. They enter, the villains arrive, and then they tell Ida that he has to go warn the heroes. And this time, it's easier for him to escape because Deku can literally just stretch himself, surround the entire portal that Kurogiri does, and just kind of stop him there, as well as literally growing his fist big enough to just punch the door out, which did make it so that's when Kurogiri teleported students all around the place, the ones that were left were able to go out at least, and he kind of stopped bothering about those ones. So 13 doesn't get hurt. Aizawa still does, like a lot. In the water, they could basically just kind of shapeshift into something else to basically go afloat. Um, the villains weren't really able to do anything against him because, well, he can literally stretch around them and just punch them away. He got on the boat with Tsuyu and Mineta. Then they started trying to make a plan, but not for escaping the water zone, to just go help everyone else, because they know they can just extend out of there. Then the Nomu attacks Aizawa, which Deku decides that he's going to try and stop the Nomu. Simply because well, not stop him, like beat him, but like restrain him at least. To at least save time before the heroes arrive to take care of him. So he brings the others to shore, tells them to run to the exit, and goes straight against the Nomu. Shigaraki sees Tsuyu and Mineta trying to run away and tells the Nomu to attack them. While he's going to get them, Deku basically extends himself and grab around the Nomu, basically starting to go entirely around it, kind of trying to just put his entire body too much around the Nomu for him to move, breathe, and anything like that to basically suffocate him. Which he's kind of able to do for a while until the Numu's kind of trying to literally kill him. Which he doesn't have a choice then and let go of him. Shigaraki tells the Numu to kill the kid, which he tries doing. What Deku does is basically just shrink down as small as he can, and basically just kind of tries to stay out of the way. Basically, he just kind of jumped on the Numu's back, and the Numu's trying to get him. He's not able to, which Shigaraki tells Kurogiri to basically get the kids. But in that moment, All Might arrive. When Izuku sees All Might, now he is really happy, while Shigaraki is just a tad annoyed, simply because, well, he wanted to kill the kids to make All Might mad, but he wasn't able to kill them. All Might went straight to the offensive on the Nomu. Izuku got out of the way. Shigaraki decided to try and at least harm Deku, which he wasn't able to do, simply because, well, Aizawa didn't get the second hit to the ground, which literally made him incapable of using his eyes. So he was able to stop Shigaraki. Izuku, after that, basically just punched him away, which, after a while, basically the same thing was happening with All Might, basically punching the Nomu through oblivion. Shigaraki told Kurogiri to take him away, which he did. The Nomu got beaten. Aizawa was hurt, but not as bad. 13 was perfectly fine. Every student were saved. And yeah, basically, the two persons that were really hurt really bad were Aizawa and Deku. Deku because, well, literally the Numu went apeshit on his ass while he was stuck inside of Deku. So Deku got hurt a lot. Like, he's not even able to stand that easily. Like,